Purpose, meaning. The human being, the human person, wants to have purpose and meaning. And they pursue a variety of things to try to find something that will satisfy that longing or to fill that emptiness. It's an interesting thing for us because I think we could really reduce this down to something simple. We have questions. Now, I don't know that a dog would have questions about their meaning or existence. My feeling is they don't. Nor do I think that any other animals, such as even fish, spiders, snakes, cats, have this questioning. What's my meaning in life? What's my purpose in life? It's more instinctual. But there's something so special and unique about the human person that we ask questions. Why am I here? Why does that work the way that works? Why are they acting that way? Why do I have this feeling of unhappiness? Why am I not more productive, etc.? So an interesting document from the church is from Vatican II, and it's called Nostra Aetate. It's one of my favorite documents. And in this document, it's this question about how does the church interact with people who don't believe the same way we believe, specifically people of different religions. And really what she decides is that our common ground is this reality of being people who question and wanting to find meaning and purpose. So in Nostra Aetate, right there in the beginning, we can look kind of midway down from that first part. It says, men look to their different religions for an answer to the unsolved riddles of human existence. The problems that weigh heavily on the hearts of men are the same today as in ages past. What is man? What is the meaning and purpose of life? What is upright behavior? And what is sinful? Where does suffering originate and what end does it serve? How can genuine happiness be found? And what happens at death? What is judgment? What reward follows death? And finally, what is the ultimate mystery beyond human explanation, which embraces our entire existence, from which we take our origin and towards which we tend? And I love this because ultimately the church is saying we have these primordial questions and we want to know what is the purpose and meaning of life? Why are certain things the way they are? And what happens when we die? And so what happens, interestingly enough, when the church explores these common questions, we realize we have a common area in which we can move and be, and especially important when we're thinking about and talking about evangelization. But not just evangelization. When we sit and think about our meaning, our purpose, what is it that we're invited into, recognizing that these questions aren't bad, that God has made us in such a way that we would ask these questions is a bit of a consolation, I think. So what's interesting here is that we then move into this second paragraph, or second part of declaration on a relation of the church to non-Christian religions, Nostra Aetate. Throughout history, even to the present day, there is found among different people a certain awareness of a hidden power which lies behind the course of nature and the events of human life. At times, there is present even a recognition of a supreme being, or still more of a father. And this awareness and recognition results in a way of life that is imbued with a deep religious sense. So the religions which are found in more advanced civilizations endeavor by way of well-defined concepts and exact language to answer these questions. Here's some examples. Thus, in Hinduism, men explore the divine mystery and express it both in the limitless riches of myth and the accurately defined insights of philosophy. They seek release from the trials of the present life by ascetical practices, profound meditation, and recourse to God in confidence and love. Buddhism, in its various forms, testifies to the essential inadequacy of this changing world, and it proposes a way of life by which men can, with confidence and trust, attain a state of perfect liberation and reach supreme illumination, either through their own efforts or by the aid of divine help. So too, other religions which are found throughout the world attempt to, in their own way, to calm the hearts of men. I love that phrase, to calm the hearts of men, by outlining a program of life covering doctrine, moral precepts, and sacred rites. So they attempt in their own way to calm the hearts of men by outlining a program of life covering doctrine, moral precepts, and sacred rites. And what's interesting is that in some of these civilizations that are not so advanced, even primitive civilizations and cultures. You may not have as advanced an understanding of exact languages and well-defined concepts as you find in the civilized places, but they still all of us, regardless, primitive or civilized, will have this desire to have an outline for a program of life covering doctrine, moral precepts, and sacred rites. So an example would be, let's say, a primitive religion. They're going to go out and they're going to do a dance to help invite the divine beings to pour rain down. There's going to be a doctrinal understanding of why they're doing that. There's really usually a moral kind of parameter that they're working in, like you want to please the gods, or this behavior would not please the gods. And then there's this idea of sacred rites, and so you'll have certain performances and dances and things that they do to try to win the favor of that divine being. So the Catholic Church, and this is what's so fascinating here, the Catholic Church rejects nothing of what is true and holy in these religions. Now that's such an important statement for us, because what the Church is looking for ultimately is a common connection, a common ground. Like, where can we go so that we can have a real dialogue with someone who doesn't believe the things that we believe? Like, how do we do this? And so the Catholic Church rejects nothing of what is true and holy in these religions. She has a high regard for the manner of life and conduct, the precepts and doctrines which, although differing in many ways from her own teaching, nevertheless often reflects a ray of that truth which enlightens all men. And I love that. So you're not minimizing the importance and the truth of what the Catholic Church is saying when you extend charity to a different religion and look for a common ground. You're not minimizing the importance of doctrine and teaching for us or our sacred rites. We're not doing that at all, but we're going to try to find that common ground here. And this is why the next sentence is so really important. Yet she, the Church, proclaims and is in duty bound to proclaim without fail Christ, who is the way, the truth, and the life. In him, in whom God reconciled all things to himself, men find the fullness of their religious life. And so we're going to look around and we're going to see that all people have this longing and this desire to find meaning and purpose. They're asking deep primordial questions. Now, we know that the human person has constructed these religious doctrinal standpoints and that they're going to hold to, and they're going to have these ceremonies and sacred rites, and they're going to try to fall in stride with who they are as a human person. The Catechism is going to say the human person is a religious being. So ultimately, the human person is recognizing we're more than just an animal. There's something more at work here. So we're going to construct a religious expression that endears us to this other. And that's kind of that whole idea of, really, throughout history, even to the present day, there is found among different peoples a certain awareness of a hidden power. And so some people call it power, or maybe some divine being. Maybe it's not specific in its name. Maybe it's recognized as there, but we're not sure. So it has a sense of agnostic kind of tendency for the human person towards this being. Some might even still call that being Father, and that's specifically connecting to the Jewish people there. And what's interesting is that the Church is trying to figure out, how do we talk to them? Like, what can we say? And so we have this common ground, this desire for meaning and purpose. Religions are going to try to set up that structure so that they can find meaning and purpose. And for us, we recognize that in each of these different religions, there's religions that have that ray of understanding. Like, there's truth that's found in there, because truth is truth, see? And so we're going to talk about this a little bit more in the next episode.